We got you right here.
Welcome to YTunes Shuffle. This is David Earl Waterman. This is how the show works. My guest will bring their music playing device, whether that's an iPod or an iPhone or whatever it happens to be. We'll put the device on shuffle, and whatever tune happens to pop up randomly, that will be sort of the experience that will inform the interview, and we'll talk about the tune or anything else that might happen to come up. And today, my guests are Eddie and Karen Pepitone.
Hi.
They just waved to me.
I forgot I thought we were being videotaped. Yeah, it's hello everybody. Yeah, it's audio.
Yeah, it's audio. And I want to just express my sincere thanks because I was running late today and I actually went to the wrong address, and you've been so accommodating. Good old friends back from the fake gallery days of Los Angeles. And for those of you that might not be familiar with the fake gallery, it was just a tremendously wonderful and indulgent performance space. But today, it's about the music. So, with that being said, I want to go ahead and just ask Eddie, do you have your music ready to go in front of you?
Yes, I do, David. Okay. I feel like I'm in a game show, and I'm like, yes, I do.
See, that's,
David.
That's good for that's good for
yes,
me. Yes,
I do.
That's good for me to know.
And I feel like me and my wife here, Karen, are playing for like a trip to somewhere. Yes, David, we really haven't been out of LA in many years, and this would be great.
Well, we hope that you'll do a great job today, and we really want to send you on that cruise.
Oh God, honey, I hope.
Cozumel at this time of year is great.
Is this what's my line?
And I really, you see, and it's good for me to know that because I feel myself sounding like an announcer, and in the last couple of YTunes shuffles, I've heard myself, and I'm like,
it takes a while to get well, especially when I start off, because I have my own podcast, and when I started off, especially, it takes a little bit to get into the groove.
Yeah,
you're just it's weird to start off cold, like okay,
yeah,
and you're talking to the audience who you don't know what the fuck they're like. My audience is crazy. They're out of their minds.
I have no audience, which at this point is great. So we have nothing to lose. Let's play the game. Go ahead and just hit shuffle. We'll get some levels, and we'll hear what song happens to come up first. What tune?
Hit shuffle. Oh, okay, shuffle.
Okay.
I hit shuffle.
And
it went to. This is too funny.
Watch that cards will come up first.
And part of the excitement of the show is that we're actually going to set levels and technology while the show is running in real time. And I just got a glimpse of Eddie's apps.
Hey, is this family show?
Yeah, it is.
Allowed to say that?
Yeah. I just hit a song, and it's shuffle all. So from this point on.
Charlotte.
Okay, so I'm going to get our levels. Now,
it's a main happiness.
I don't recognize the song. Can you tell me a little bit about this song?
I'll tell you a little bit about the band.
Okay, do.
The band is called the New York Dolls, fronted by David Johansen. And the biggest song I remember David Johansen for is "We Gotta Get Out of This Place If It's the Last Thing We Ever Do."
Right.
And David Johansen, who's like one of the coolest, like the New York Dolls. You never heard of the New York Dolls?
I definitely heard of the New York Dolls. When I saw the Who at Rich Stadium, David Johansen opened. But I was a Van Halen, AC/DC, REO Speedwagon guy, and the New York Dolls were totally out of my league. Obviously, I mean, we're about the same age. You are like another group of my friends that were more punk rockers.
Yeah,
but I had no idea who David Johansen was.
Yeah, I never got into any of those bands you just mentioned. But yeah, so the New York Dolls were this cool, hip, alternative band. He kind of dressed like, like a little transgendery.
I do know.
And they were really like, I don't know how to put it, but they were really like at the forefront.
How old were you when you got it? Do you remember your first exposure to the New York Dolls, or where were you living? How old were you? Who were you hanging around with?
Yeah, well, it's funny because like a lot of things in my life, I found out more about the New York Dolls later in my life. You know what I mean? But I did know about them, and I had a brief, like flirtation with them, where I was like, oh, who are these guys? Because I was a big Who fan.
Okay.
You know, a big hard rock fan.
So what year would you say the first time you heard the New York Dolls? How old were you?
I was born in 1958. I probably heard them maybe 1978.
Where were you living?
I was living in Staten Island still.
With your family, or?
Yes, I think so. I think so. I was just about to move. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just about to like get out of college.
Oh, you were in college at the time.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to college at first Fordham in the Bronx, and then the College of Staten Island.
Did you have a regular live music venue that you would go to and that kind of a thing?
Well, I would go to New York.
Yeah.
You know, I would go to New York and see concerts. I just remember the one concert I remember more than anyone was this. They used to have concerts in a place in Jersey called Roosevelt Stadium.
Roosevelt Stadium.
And they were general admission. And I'll never forget seeing, I don't know if you remember this band, Leslie West and Mountain. Jack Bruce, Leslie West, and then the James Gang. And those concerts for me were like just major pot smoking events. Like, oh my God, we would be so stoned seeing this music and just flipping out, for this music. But I remember that concert more than anything because a brawl broke out. These general admission
Concert with who? Which group were you seeing?
Leslie West and Mountain.
Okay, so you remember that concert?
Oh, now we're on to Ray Davies. That's funny.
Oh, well, if you want to finish your story, we'll get
I remember going to this outdoor stadium, Roosevelt Stadium, and general admission means you let everyone in at the same time, which is crazy. That's how people died in a Who concert in Cincinnati, like a famous.
Yeah.
Because people would get fucking trampled.
Yeah.
Another time I went to Nassau Coliseum. I forget who we were going to see, but it was that kind of thing where I almost was in one of those situations where people were converging on doors to get in. It was general admission, and people started to just crush other people.
What was the show?
That one was for, I think it was Kiss.
Oh, did you have a regular crew of people that you went to concerts?
Yeah,
So who were they?
A few. They were my buddies who I used to hang out with all the time. Michael Brennan and Bill, like these two brothers that we used
The Brennan brothers?
The Brennan brothers.
And like, how long did you know them? Were they college guys, high school?
They lived in my neighborhood, and I knew them from, let's see, I was 10 when I knew them. I knew them for like 10 years. Like I moved from Brooklyn when I was 10.
Okay.
And so we were hanging together until we went to college.
Okay, so this was the Brennans were local neighborhood guys. You go to concerts together in the city.
Yeah.
Was there a pre-concert tradition? Was there
getting very high was our tradition?
Weed? Was it like Kush?
Yeah,
I guess
weed,
the kids call it.
Weed, and Michael was really into booze. I was never.
Michael Brennan was a boozer.
Yeah, I was never a big boozer because I could not handle it.
No.
But I was always like, yeah, man.
I went to see AC/DC in Rochester at the War Memorial, and I smoked so much weed I couldn't swallow for 2 days. It was like Steve Buren and the Oliver Brothers were mine. So Ray Davies just popped up, and we're now on your third song already.
Oh, this is funny.
Really?
This is Yo-Yo Ma, and it's the cello suites.
Now we started with the New York Dolls.
Yeah. Now that's how I am. My dad is a big classical music buff.
Okay.
I would come home, or I'd be home, and my dad all of a sudden he had little busts of Beethoven and Mozart, and he was a big Beethoven guy, and he would crank, like, I would come home and he would crank Beethoven.
And the operas too, right? Huh? The operas too, right? That's how you got to do.
Oh, big time opera. He's Italian, he's Sicilian.
Okay.
And he would crank Beethoven, and he would like, oh, Ed, you gotta listen to this. Listen to these fucking flutes.
I don't know if that's how Beethoven put it.
Did you have brothers and sisters that also?
One sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Dad was just a huge classical music
Yeah.
opera.
So he got me into it, and as I've gotten older, like I downloaded the Yo-Yo Ma cello suites. As I've gotten older, I have like I go back and forth from like really wanting like rock and roll to like get into the day and like get moving, and then other times which. I never used to be like that, but other times now I'm like, I need very peaceful music. I need music to like chill out to. I need music to calm down to. And so I downloaded this a couple of years ago after hearing it somewhere. I was like, oh my God, this is beautiful.
So your dad wasn't specifically into Yo-Yo Ma, but it kind of, there is sort of a connection between you were first influenced by this.
Because I'm not one of these people who completely, like, I know a lot of guys who, like, never listen to classical. Like, they're quote-unquote rock and rollers, and they never listen to classical at all. And I listen to a lot of classical, a lot. I mean, I have Don Giovanni, opera. Me and Karen have gone to a bunch of operas here in LA now. We saw Carmen at the Hollywood Bowl. We saw Wagner, part of the Ring Cycle at downtown.
What's the culture like at these events? I mean, I know you from comedy rooms and mics and things like that. Is it a pretty eclectic group that would go?
I think so.
Yeah.
How long have you been going to these things?
Well, it depends. I mean, they're a little pricey, so we don't go that. We try usually wait until there's maybe try and get something through Gold Star or whatever, or But
you can send your donations to the Pepitone.
No, but because I mean, obviously, but you know what? You look at like sports games; it costs just as much or more than an opera ticket. So it's like, why not?
There you go.
See something, a good show that you. We try to do also like shows like Dame Edna or things like
I
she
missed
just did a
the
farewell.
Dame Edna.
Oh, she was
Do you dress up for these operas? Do you make it an event?
I'll put on a
just
button
nice.
shirt instead of.
You'll go.
I'm serious, like a button shirt and maybe a pair of pants that are okay. But I'm not a big dresser for these things. It would, it's kind of nice. Some people really dress up for the opera.
Yeah, I don't have like.
It's an older crowd.
Right.
Yeah,
it's definitely
Usually.
an older crowd. I don't, but like at the Hollywood Bowl, we've seen Carmen, and did we see? Oh, we've seen a bunch of classical music at the Hollywood, like Dudamal. I don't know if you know.
That's
I
usually more
don't.
casual,
No.
yeah.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Dudamal is the conductor of the LA Philharmonic.
He's like that.
And he's like a hip
young guy,
Argentinian
quirky,
dude, and all kinds of people.
And
And
you're
the
loving
bowl
it.
is just an event.
Yeah,
The
you
bowl.
can-
And as a
It's more
couple, this has
casual,
become a
outdoor.
Pepitone thing
Yeah.
that you folks like.
We
to
like
do.
to go to the bowl at least once or twice a year, and we find that
You can
that
dress
the,
more casual. Yeah,
that the
take a
most
picnic.
mellow is the classical stuff.
Nice summer night.
We've gone
yeah,
to the
we
bowl
get
to see
stars
the
above
Who,
you. Yeah.
the old, the Who,
I
where
saw
it's
them at
only
the
like two
Yeah.
people.
Yeah,
you
and
know,
Ringo
it's-
Starr's kid and the drums or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't just I don't dress like Margaret Dumont or anything when I go to the tiaras or but I try to just because it does make you feel like a little bit like when you get out of your usual everyday
I
work
like
clothes.
to-
When you dress up, it's like okay, I feel
It's paying
civilized
homage
now,
almost to a particular art form,
More
and by
civilized time, yeah,
sort
where
of
it's just like,
participate. I like to participate in the event. I've not been to an opera ever in my life,
Yeah.
but I mean it is an experience. Like musical theater was a huge thing for me when I was a young kid. West Side Story, The Wiz, and stuff like that, and certainly have
Start
those
getting
experiences.
more into that like Sondheim, like Sweeney Todd and all, and
Right, yeah.
because we just saw Angela Lansbury over last Christmas too doing Blithe Spirit, Noel Coward, and she's like almost 90. She's had both. She called herself the Bionic Woman. She's had both hips replaced and all these other joints, but she was bouncing around that stage like she had just done Sweeney Todd like 20 or 30 years ago.
It's the spice of life. Everything on
amazing,
stage
her
is
energy.
informed in some way by beat and sound.
The live energy is like so much better. When you see a farce like Noises Off, when you see that live, it's so much better. Even though they had a movie with a good cast, John Ritter and all these other, the movie didn't play as well because you didn't have that live energy of the audience.
And there again, the live energy. And
Yeah.
so now is this a family mix or is this just an Eddie mix? Like do you have Karen? Do you also have your own?
I'm like a bit of a I still have an old-fashioned phone that just does texting.
So this is the family
I
mix.
listen to my music on on a Sirius XM. There are two channels. I listen to the old 40s, and then they also have an old-time radio. They play nothing but old-time radio shows like The Shadow and Superman. All this 24. I'm just like, I love this stuff.
And so that's another area where YTunes Shuffle has to get into is like if there was sort of like now the Borax Theater Hour.
Oh,
those
great.
those
It's
are great
great. And
things.
their
But
voices, you know?
when you're listening to classical music now, just to jump back, Eddie, to that. It's a source for you now too. When you want to relax, you consciously click through your mix.
Like this is great music to have in the background
Soothing,
when I'm writing. You know, even though there are times where I'll have upbeat music when I'm writing as well. But this I find to be the nicest. Like just whatever and. Yeah, I mean, to me this is like default music. You know what I mean? Like
I think it's good for
You fly a lot.
Yeah.
Would this be something you take?
Oh, absolutely,
me
absolutely.
too.
Because flying makes me nervous.
Yeah, me too.
I'm like, oh God. I mean, just the whole experience of it. You know.
And I follow you on Facebook. We're friends, and I personally love when people are generous and share stuff on Facebook. That's my connection.
Yeah.
You know, I think we're all learning how to be. You know, the etiquette of Facebook. I've put my foot in my mouth so many different times.
Me too.
But when I get to see that you're in a place far away, it kind of gives me a sense of like, wow, this guy's on planes, and my iTunes mix, my mix has got takeoff and landing music, and it's helped me overcome.
Is that right?
Yeah. Specifically, it could be Dean Martin or Frank Sinatra, like
Rat
Pack stuff.
Too, yeah.
Come fly with me, let's fly. And I also have some really long meditation. And speaking of long, this Yo-Yo Mop, does this go an hour 50? How much?
It's got 30 seconds left.
Oh, it's got 30 seconds left.
There you go.
Part of the excitement of YTunes is that you have to hang.
You tell me whenever you want me to.
No,
I'm ahead.
What we're trying to figure out.
I mean, I think people got the gist of this one.
But who knows? I mean, there was a lot of content that came from this particular song, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. Do we stick with the song the tune all the way through? But it's been interesting. New York Dolls, Rick Ocasek. What was the second?
Ray Davies.
Ray Davies, his cousin.
The Kinks.
The Kinks. Yeah, right.
Here we go. See.
Now we're in a Mozart.
This is Don Giovanni. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah,
Mozart. This is Don Giovanni. Which did we see Don Giovanni?
I think so.
I think we saw it. Yeah, we did see it. We saw it downtown at the Taper or Amundsen or something like that. And the thing about operas is, like, you've never been to an opera. I would go to one that's really like something you could relate to at first, like Carmen is like a real kind of bang, 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 or Don Giovanni. There's a lot of, because some of them can be 3 hours long and very obtuse.
If you don't know what's going on, yeah.
And if you don't know what's going on, What's cool in downtown LA is, and I like this, is that they have a screen above the actors that translates the song.
Well, that would be helpful because they are
because
in Italian.
Then you can be like, and then you're like, because we're not, complete aficionados, and then you're like, oh, okay, I see what's going on.
Can you bring up the volume a little bit on your device, just so I'd like the listeners to be able to okay, cool. And again, listeners, this is Eddie Pepitone's random iTunes mix. Where'd we go from Mozart to where?
This is.
You can keep the volume up. I'll control it.
Oh, okay, good.
Turn yours all the way up.
Is this bluegrass?
This is an album I just downloaded in London.
Oh.
And it's called Love for Levon. And this is Levon Helm of the band.
Yeah.
And now I've always loved the band. And there's a documentary about Levon Helm.
Okay.
Who, do you know him? He's the drummer for the band.
Definitely know of him, but I got a lot to learn. I think a lot of us do.
Like cover album, like the kind you did with Pete Seeger, when they had the beat.
This was guys like, I'll tell you who's on this album doing songs that Levon Helm either wrote or was a part of. Roger Waters, John Mayer, My Morning Jacket, Greg Allman, Joe Walsh, Bruce Hornsby, John Prine.
Wow.
Like, all these guys did a benefit for Levon Helm because Levon Helm, the band, made all this money, but I think most of this is what my understanding of it is that most of the money went to Robbie Robertson for writing the songs. But Helm, this is a story where Levon Helm, and I saw this documentary called "I Ain't in It for My Health."
I ain't in it for my health.
Levon Helm. It was his last couple of years of his life. He was in debt, and they had to do these benefit concerts for him. And he also had to start doing this live music out of his house in Woodstock. Wow. And it was this intense, but it's great music. And
you were in London when you
was in
heard
London
this?
when I downloaded this.
And this is recently.
This was this was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks. And what was happening around you? I mean, what I'm curious to know is like what was the energy, the environment, the sounds, smells, or whatever when this music came into your life to such a degree that you had to own it. You had to put it into your personal library. What was going on with you in London?
Well, I think what happens with me when I travel is I feel very lost.
You feel lost.
I feel very lost. Like we were talking about before coming on air, I feel out of my comfort zone when I'm on the road. Yeah. And music like this, Levon Helm, I've always loved. Like there's something about his voice, like, and this isn't even him singing, but there's something there's something really sweet and grounding about this music that I really like. So when I travel, I like gravitate toward music that's going to ground me, and this is the kind of music that I like.
Again, as we were talking before air, being out of our comfort zone, I travel extensively, myself, and for me, it feels sometimes it goes in waves to like awe, indescribable. Oh, I'm in Bangkok, Thailand, or I'm in Nanjing, China, on a mountain, whatever it may be, and it's overwhelming awe. And then it could just as easily be like really sad for whatever reason. And where can you talk about your
Well, for me, I think it's feeling like, because I go solo a lot of the time.
Completely solo.
Yeah, and my show is complete. Like, I'm a stand-up, so it really is like the solitary stand-up. And so what I'm feeling when I'm on the road, especially when I go to a place like overseas and London, where now I have a bunch of people I know over there, and it's a lot more dealable for me. But whenever I travel far away from home, far away from Karen and the nest, I feel this sense of like longing for just, I think, home. And I was talking to my shrink about it too. Like, abandonment is triggered when I leave. Yeah. Like seriously. Like, I'm like, what the? Where the? It's like, no one. Where's mommy? Where's daddy? I'm serious. It's like,
no, I know.
I feel. I joke with Karen that when I get on the planes, I'm 56. I should have a name tag that says Eddie Pepitone, comedian, somewhat bereft. May need your help.
I think we all do. And when
prone to panic attacks.
And when you crank up music, is it always in your headphones, like in a hotel room or walking the streets?
No, when I'm in London, when they give me a flat to hang, they give you an apartment for 2 weeks, and I bring a little portable Bluetooth, it's called Jawbone. This is Sinatra.
Here we go. Wow,
my mom got me into Sinatra, but I'll bring a Bluetooth speaker.
You make me feel
me too. And when I was in Bangladesh a couple years ago, and cranking like Sinatra out the windows of Bangladesh and seeing the rickshaws and the completely different energy is great. Your mom's a Sinatra fan.
My mom. Now my dad got me into classical.
Yeah.
And my mom just listened to nothing but Barbra Streisand and Frank Sinatra. My mom grew up in Hoboken, which is where Sinatra grew up, and she told us, I don't know how much truth this was to this, but that her mom dated Sinatra for a very...
Your grandma dated Frank?
Very briefly.
Wow.
I mean, I'm sure he dated a lot of Hoboken.
That's pretty cool.
But that was family lore, So, that happened. So anyway,
that's a great story.
Now, what's funny is about classical and Sinatra is that I completely hated both of it when I was a kid, because I was like, I don't want to hear your music, Dad, because he always used to tell me, turn that shit off.
The New York Dolls.
And my mother would, please, the Who. please, that's not music. My dad used to go, that's not music, they're yelling. You know,
however,
and then my mom was into Sinatra and Streisand, and I hated that because it was way too mellow. My dad, I just didn't understand that music. This, I was like, come on, this is for old people. And now it's so funny because, again, you know, Sinatra. We have another satellite radio station is just called what is it? Seriously Sinatra.
Oh, okay.
Seriously Sinatra. Yeah, they have all kinds of it, but it's great. I mean, sometimes they'll play an entire live album from Vegas. You know, those great Rat Pack days. But now I love what my mom and dad.
Yeah.
You know, except maybe Streisand. I mean, I could listen to Streisand too, but as I've gotten older, I'm like, oh, I definitely see the value of this.
This is our American standard music at a time post World War II coming out, or I'm not quite sure when this particular recording was made, but it does harken up for me, and I think a lot of people, at least the idea of this pleasant, sort of workable nation where people would shake each other's hands on a train platform in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true, too, that it brings back a simpler time. The lyrics are so simple.
Yeah, it's really old nostalgic.
Yeah.
And when I hear music from the 80s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s, you know, it wasn't necessarily a simple time, nor were the 40s or 50s. There was kinds of, you know, there was stuff happening, but just to hang on to that.
Oh. Yeah. Now this is funny that this came up. This is called the Goten Project, Lunatico, and it's a French band. And this is one of those things that I will download because I'm adventurous. With iTunes, right? You're like, well, what's this? What's that? And I think I heard a clip.
Okay.
Or I heard a cut, and I was like, oh, let me try it. This is just an experimental thing that I tried, and I kind of like it. This is called Amor Porteño.
Sort of torch song kind of stuff.
Cool.
Frenchy.
So I mean, basically, I think this is also about my longing to travel. Like even though it brings up all these issues with me, I never really started traveling until like a few years ago.
Is that right?
Overseas, yeah.
So you're about 52 or 53 when you first went overseas?
Something like that. 4 years ago, was it? Maybe.
Okay.
Sure.
Something like that, or 5 years ago. Yeah. I mean, I had done some traveling in the States, but never really got out of the States.
Right.
You know, and so I'm always like so interested in what is outside the United States. You know, because we are so. What I've also realized about Americans in general is that we're so provincial. Because in Europe, you could travel, you could be in another country in an hour.
Yeah.
Here, you got to plan for fucking decades.
Yeah. We could be in Palmdale in an hour.
You know what I mean, though. I mean, like it's a 12-hour flight from LA.
It is, yeah.
Or 10, whatever.
Yeah, to leave this country, to leave the United States, and be immersed in a completely.
Whereas if
different
you grow up in I don't know, England, you can jump on a train and be in Paris in 2 hours.
You told me you had some cabbie who was going on vacation. Where was it? This is a cabbie who was.
This cabbie who picked me up, taking me to the airport in London, back to LA, taking me to the airport at Heathrow. He was just telling me, I'm going to Mallorca, Spain, and then he was going to the Himalayas to climb a mountain. Yeah, we climbed, you know, I forget, it was the famous one. It wasn't Everest, but it was another, like, he's just been all over.
This cab
and this is a cabbie.
Well, those London cabbies, I mean, that's $150,000 a year job, right?
They earn it because they know where they're going.
Have you talked to them about that
the
whole
knowledge
process?
The knowledge.
Yeah, the knowledge.
The knowledge.
That's right. Explain what the knowledge is.
Well, the knowledge, from what my understanding of it is that they have to know the streets of London inside out, basically. The knowledge is knowing every back street, road, where I mean,
We're
I'm
in
not
Los
even
Angeles,
sure.
and it would be akin to what used to be called the Thomas Guide before the sort of GPS. We had
Taxis
to
here,
learn.
yeah, they have to check everything.
And that's my cab. One of my cabbies in London. His wife was a soap opera star.
Wow.
Yeah, this is no kidding. And it was like there wasn't that. In the U.S., it wouldn't be likely that one of our famous celebrities would have a cabbie as a husband or a Uber driver, or whatever. But yeah, his wife was a soap opera actress on the BBC. He was making akin to 150 grand. He talked to me about the knowledge, having to pass this rigid test. In this particular French music that we're listening to, where did that pop into your head when you were overseas?
I don't even know.
You don't even remember?
I don't even think I was overseas when I got this. I think
around.
Yeah, it's like something you hear in a cafe.
I've never been to Paris. I've wanted to go to Paris.
I was in the
a while.
airport for like 3.5 hours on a layover, and I was too afraid to leave. And,
I know,
just walk
I'm
around.
always afraid to
Yeah, because I'll
leave.
miss it. I'll have to go through customs again.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see a lot of homeless people inside De Gaulle Airport? Did you happen to notice?
I've never been in Paris.
Oh, you? Okay, I'm sorry. I stopped in the airport, just the airport.
Yeah.
And it was the middle of winter time, and I was coming back from Beirut, Lebanon, and I had to go through there, and a lot of homeless people like sleeping in
the airport.
Whatever it is, I forget now, gate B. There's a bunch of homeless people. I was really surprised.
Indoors?
Wow.
Indoors, yeah, middle of winter time. I mean, I was just kind of surprised.
Yeah, especially with the security these days,
All my traveling, I've not been to Paris either.
Yeah.
I've not just.
I mean, that's
that
another
right?
thing you got to
Yeah.
plan because like Rick Steves was saying, like, you have to pick one wing of the Louvre that you wanted, and it's going to take you, you can't possibly do it all in one day. You just have to focus on one area and just go and not linger. And it's like, and he always suggests making the reservations.
It's
in
like
advance
iTunes Shuffle, It's like you can kind of like, okay, we'll get this in, we'll see what happens.
That's Mozart against.
Uh-oh. This is a great one to wind up our first YTunes Shuffle. The King. Why Elvis? YTunes Elvis.
I'll tell you why Elvis. And this is another one later in life.
Okay.
I was never an Elvis guy. I was never like this whole Elvis craze. I was never. But recently, I was on the road again, but I forget where I was, and I think it was in Austin. Who the fuck knows? I'm all over the place. But I was reading in my hotel room. Bob Dylan recently. I don't know if the Independence Award gave an amazing speech about his. Basically his history as a musician, and it was one of the most amazing speeches at the Independence Awards. I think I probably have that wrong.
This is Bob Dylan giving a speech about his or Elvis?
No, about Bob Dylan's career.
Okay.
And it was an amazing speech. If you look, anyway, I can't remember the venue, but Dylan was so honest about people, critics who didn't like him. He goes, for instance, I'll give you for instance. Hey, how come this Dylan said this? He was like, how come people give me shit saying I can't sing, that I'm mumbling, but they never gave Lou Reed or Tom Waits any shit. I mean, he was really being honest about what he felt about the critics, and he was talking about people who helped him. People. He goes, Sun Records.
Yeah,
They're the
famous.
one who backed him.
Oh, I didn't know
also,
that.
Yeah, they backed him, and somebody turned him down. So he said, "Hey, I'd rather be with Sun Records than this other guy." Blah blah blah. And so Dylan just talked about Elvis a little bit and how great Elvis was. And now I'm like, Bob Dylan, I would say, is my fave. Is kind of my fave of all time. So when he said that about Elvis, I actually just immediately downloaded like an Elvis greatest hits thing, and I've been listening to it, and I like a bunch of it. This is Jack Johnson.
And Jack Johnson, and because of the downloadable time commitment, I mean, this is a hard show to download and put on the venues that I am. This will be our last one. Who are we listening to again?
Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson.
And I don't know. Do you know?
Nope.
Let me see. Let me just take a look at this. Oh.
It's the kind of like mellow.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I have Jack Johnson.
And it's okay. There doesn't have
This
to
is
be
called Sitting, Waiting, Wishing.
sitting, waiting, wishing.
It might be part of a compilation. I don't know.
And some other episodes of YTunes Shuffle, I think we all have those tunes that come up that just happen to hang out in our mix. And, you know, I was gonna say, like, you know, where Bob Dylan and his heartfelt sort of inventory of his life and career and so on, you know, mentions Elvis, and then you're inspired. Yeah, let me give the King a second.
Well, that's how I do it. Like with music, also other people will say, "Oh, I like this band or this singer," and if I have my wits about me, I'll write it down or do a voice memo and try to look them up. You know, because I feel like I don't have the time to know what's happening in music, and there's so much music.
Too much. I caught this tail end of a John Lee Hooker thing on PBS, and I've heard, you know, but I bought the whole John Lee Hooker anthology, and I've been stuck now every day just playing that over and over and over again. Well, this is the podcast. It's YTunes Shuffle, a show where my guests just randomly turn on their music. The music informs the conversation. We get to see a side of our guests that you know, is related to the music, more or less. I'm so glad those of you that gave it a listen did. I'm looking for any kind of feedback, any kind of you know, collaboration for folks that are music-minded that might want to enhance or develop the show. I want to thank Eddie and Karen Pepitone for being my guests today and sharing a little bit about your YTunes, and would like to invite you back to do another episode if the time should come. And
I don't think so, but thank you for today. Yeah, I'm going to have to take a flyer. I don't know about Karen.
Okay, well, I can't win them all. Can't win them all. So, thanks for listening to YTunes Shuffle. See you later, folks.